Miami Dolphins was, after my dad, my favorite player, Hall of Famer Dan Marino.
Good job getting open. I thought Ronnie Hellman in the backs ran the ball hard. That opened up some.
Manning fires, complete touchdown.
He makes me sick. That is what someone said about a player they watched. And if there is one thing Peyton Manning does not fake, it is his reactions. The man spent 18 years in the NFL. He won 2 Super Bowls. He set records that still stand today. But along the way, he also made enemies. Some were rivals, some were teammates, some were coaches who figured out how to beat him, and some just played bad football. This is not about literal hate. This is about fierce rivalries. This is about unforgettable failures. This is about painfully bad quarterback play that made Manning want to scream. We are breaking down 4 players or types of players that visibly frustrated him more than anyone. These are the ones that got under his skin, the ones that made him work harder, the ones that exposed his weaknesses, or the ones that just made him shake his head in disgust. Let's start with the biggest name in football history. Tom Brady owned Peyton Manning in the early years. That is just a fact. When the two met in the playoffs, it was usually Brady who walked away smiling. The rivalry started in 2001. Brady was a nobody then. Manning was already an MVP, but Brady had something Manning did not, a Super Bowl ring, and he kept winning them. The 2003 season was brutal for Manning. He had just been named co-MVP. His Colts were rolling. Then they ran into the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. Brady and his defense embarrassed Manning. 4 interceptions, a 24-14 loss. Manning looked lost out there. The Patriots played physical. They jammed his receivers. They confused his reads. And Brady, he just smiled and moved on to another Super Bowl. It happened again in 2004. The Patriots beat the Colts in the playoffs. Again. Manning threw another interception. Again. Brady won another ring. Again. The pattern was clear. Brady had Manning's number. Every time they met, it felt like Brady was one step ahead. People said Manning could not win the big one. They said he choked in January. They compared him to Brady constantly. And every comparison made Manning look worse. Brady was cool under pressure. Manning seemed tight. Brady made it look easy. Manning made it look hard. The two quarterbacks had totally different styles. Brady was methodical. He did not take risks. He let the defense do the work. He made the throws when they mattered. Manning was the opposite. He wanted to control everything. He called plays at the line. He took chances. He tried to outsmart everyone. And when it did not work, he looked bad. But here's the thing. Manning needed Brady. The rivalry pushed him. It forced him to get better. In 2006, Manning finally beat the Patriots in the AFC Championship. It took everything he had. He threw for over 300 yards. He made clutch plays. He won. And 2 weeks later, he got his first Super Bowl ring. Even after they both retired, the debates continued. Who was better? Who had the better career? The answer depends on who you ask. But one thing is clear, Brady lived in Manning's head for years. Every time Manning looked at the playoff bracket, he knew Brady might be waiting. That kind of pressure can break a man. It almost broke Manning. Today they are friendly, they joke around, they respect each other. But for over a decade, Tom Brady was Peyton Manning's biggest nightmare. Now let's talk about the coach who made Manning's life miserable. Bill Belichick is a defensive genius. Everyone knows that. But what people forget is how much he frustrated Peyton Manning. Belichick built defenses specifically to confuse Manning. He used disguised coverages. He changed personnel at the last second. He made Manning second-guess everything. The 2003 AFC Championship game was a perfect example. Belichick's defense was physical. They grabbed Manning's receivers. They hit them at the line. They disrupted the timing. Manning could not adjust. He threw 4 interceptions. He looked completely lost. It was one of the worst games of his career. But it was not just that one game. Every time Manning played against Belichick, it was a chess match. And for years, Belichick won. He knew Manning's tendencies. He knew what plays Manning liked. He knew how to break him. Manning was a creature of habit. He prepared obsessively. He studied film for hours. He thought he could outsmart anyone. But Belichick was different. Belichick changed his game plan every week. What worked last time would not work this time. Manning could not predict him. The Patriots were also accused of bending the rules. They played physical defense right up to the edge of legality, sometimes over it. Manning and the Colts complained constantly. They said the Patriots were getting away with holding, with illegal contact, with all kinds of infractions. The league eventually agreed. In 2004, they changed how the game was called. Suddenly, defenders could not touch receivers anymore. This became known as the Peyton Manning rule, or the Ty Law rule, named after the Patriots cornerback who dominated Manning's receivers in that 2003 championship game. Law was physical. He jammed receivers at the line, he held them downfield, he disrupted everything, and the officials let him do it. After that embarrassing loss, Colts president Bill Polian went to work. He was on the NFL's competition committee. He had power. He complained loudly about how the Patriots played defense. He said the officials were not calling penalties they should call. He pushed for stricter enforcement. The NFL listened. In 2004, they made illegal contact and defensive holding a point of emphasis. Any contact with a receiver beyond 5 yards was now a penalty. No exceptions. The impact was immediate. Penalties doubled. Passing offenses exploded across the league. And Manning, he threw 49 touchdowns. He shattered records. But this made people angry, really angry. Other teams thought the league was protecting Manning. They thought he got special treatment. He could not beat the Patriots on the field, so his team changed the rules. That is how it looked. Fair or not, Manning got blamed. People said he was privileged. They said the league catered to him because he was marketable. Ravens linebacker Terrell Suggs said it out loud. The league has favorites, he said. Manning and Brady get calls other quarterbacks do not get. Defenders have to be careful around them. But everyone else? Fair game. That rule change helped Manning. A lot. In 2004, he threw 49 touchdowns. He broke the record. His offense was unstoppable. But even with the new rules, Belichick found ways to slow him down. The man was relentless. Manning finally beat Belichick in the 2006 playoffs. It was a huge moment. The Colts came back from down 21-3. Manning threw for over 300 yards. He made big play after big play. When the game ended, Manning looked relieved. Like a weight had been lifted. He had finally solved the puzzle, but the damage was done. Belichick had gotten into Manning's head. For years, Manning had to completely change how he played just to have a chance against the Patriots. That is not respect. That is fear. Belichick made Manning uncomfortable in a way no other coach could. Even now, people talk about that 2003 game. 4 interceptions. It haunts Manning's legacy, and it all came against Belichick. Manning moved to the media after retirement. He started the Manning cast with his brother Eli, and that is where we see the real Peyton. No filter. No corporate speak, just raw reactions to bad football. And man, does he hate bad quarterbacking. But before we get to his broadcasting career, we need to talk about Jeff Saturday. Saturday was Manning's center for years. They were close friends. They studied film together. They figured out defenses together. They were like brothers. But in 2005, Manning snapped on him on national television while wearing a microphone. It was a Monday night game against the Rams. The Colts stalled in the red zone, 3 straight incomplete passes. Saturday came to the sideline complaining. He thought they should have run the ball. Manning exploded. Hey, quit calling the plays, all right? We'll run the ball. Just play center. When we call pass plays, block. The F-bombs were flying. Another lineman had to step between them. Manning was screaming. Saturday was yelling back. It was ugly. Then Manning remembered he was mic'd up. He turned to a teammate and smiled. I'm mic'd up. It's better than Desperate Housewives. Saturday later said this happened all the time. They argued in practice constantly. It was normal for them. The minute it was over, it was over. But it showed Manning's intensity, his need for control, his demand for perfection from everyone around him. Even his closest friends were not safe from his wrath when things went wrong. Derek Carr made Manning lose his mind on live television. It was a Monday night game. The Saints were playing the Chiefs. Carr dropped back. Pressure came. Manning could see what was about to happen. Throw it away, Manning begged. Get out of bounds. But Carr did not listen. He heaved a terrible pass off his back foot. Interception. Manning just stared at the screen. He looked like he wanted to cry. That is the thing about Manning on the Manning cast. He cannot hide his disgust. When a quarterback makes a bad decision, you can see it on his face. He squirms. He covers his eyes. He shakes his head. It is painful to watch, but it is also hilarious. Baker Mayfield got the same treatment. Another game. Another bad decision. Manning was practically screaming at his TV. Throw it away. Throw it away. Throw it away. Mayfield forced a pass into the end zone. Interception. Eli just laughed. Oh no, Baker, he said. Manning could not even speak. He just put his head in his hands. Daniel Jones. Same story. Bad interception. Returned for a touchdown. Manning looked like someone had punched him in the gut. These are not personal attacks. Manning has praised all these quarterbacks at different times, but in the moment, when they make a terrible play, Manning cannot help himself. He is a perfectionist. He sees the game differently than normal people. Here's what Manning hates: careless decisions, quarterbacks who do not protect the ball, guys who force throws when they should throw it away, mental errors. Those are the things that make him sick. He spent his whole career obsessing over details, studying defenses, knowing when to take a sack, when to throw it out of bounds, when to just live for another play. Watching modern quarterbacks ignore those basics drives him crazy. It is like watching someone ruin art. Manning once said he could never be a coach. He would lose his mind. And after watching the Manning cast, we believe him. The funny thing is, Manning is probably the harshest critic of bad quarterbacking in football, more than any analyst, more than any coach, because he knows how hard the position is. He knows what it takes to be great. And when he sees someone waste an opportunity with a stupid decision, it physically hurts him. That is the most genuine kind of disdain. Not personal, not mean-spirited, just a football purist watching the game he loves being played poorly. And ironically, Manning's biggest enemy today is not Brady or Belichick. It is bad quarterbacking. Every Sunday, every Monday, every Thursday, Manning watches quarterbacks make mistakes he would never make, and it kills him inside. Before we get to the defenders, we need to talk about Mike Vanderjagt, the idiot kicker. Yes, Manning actually called him that on national television at the Pro Bowl, and he meant every word. Vanderjagt made a huge mistake in 2003. After the Colts lost badly to the Jets in the playoffs, he went on Canadian television. He criticized Manning. He said Manning was not fiery enough. He said the team needed someone who would get in people's faces and yell. He also went after head coach Tony Dungy, called him too mild-mannered. Manning was furious. You do not air out the team's problems in public. You do not question the quarterback and the coach on TV. That is locker room stuff. Vanderjagt broke the code, so Manning destroyed him. Weeks later at the Pro Bowl, a reporter asked about Van der Jagt's comments. Manning did not hold back. He called Van der Jagt our idiot kicker. He said it 4 times. He accused Van der Jagt of getting drunk and running his mouth. He said Van der Jagt ruined kickers for life. Then came the final blow. The sad thing is, he's a good kicker, but he's an idiot. That label stuck forever. Every time Van der Jagt missed a kick after that, people remembered Manning's words. When he missed that crucial field goal against Pittsburgh in the 2006 playoffs, everyone called him the idiot kicker. When he got cut by Dallas after a terrible performance, same thing. Manning's words followed him everywhere. Van der Jagt was one of the most accurate kickers in NFL history, but his legacy is being called an idiot by Peyton Manning. That is cold. That is calculated. That is Manning protecting the team's hierarchy and sending a message. Criticize the leadership and you will pay. But we are not done. There were other players who frustrated Manning. Defenders who got in his head. Guys who talked trash. Guys who made plays when it mattered most. Ray Lewis was one of them. The Baltimore Ravens linebacker was a master of gamesmanship. He talked trash. He danced. He got into Manning's head before the snap. Manning hated it. He was trying to call plays, trying to read the defense, and Lewis was standing there screaming at him, trying to throw him off. Ed Reed was even worse. The Ravens' safety was unpredictable. Manning spent hours studying defenses. He thought he knew where everyone would be. Then Ed Reed would do something completely random. He would show blitz and drop into coverage. He would fake like he was dropping back and then jump a route. Manning never knew what was coming. The Ravens were always a problem for Manning. They played physical, they were loud, they were aggressive, and they usually won. Manning's record against Baltimore was not good. Those games haunted him. Then there was Greg Williams, the defensive coordinator who ran Bountygate. His defenses were dirty. They blitzed constantly. They tried to hurt people. Manning hated playing against Williams, not because he was scared, but because Williams's defenses were chaotic. Manning liked order. He liked knowing what was coming. Williams brought chaos. These were not rivalries like Brady or Belichick. These were smaller battles, but they added up. Every week, someone was trying to disrupt Manning's rhythm. Someone was trying to outsmart him. Someone was trying to make him look bad, and Manning hated when a defense thought it had outsmarted him. That was his whole identity. He was supposed to be the smartest guy on the field. When someone made him look foolish, it ate at him. You could see it in his body language, the way he argued with officials, the way he screamed at his offensive line, the way he changed plays frantically at the line of scrimmage. Manning played football like it was life or death. Every play mattered. Every decision mattered. And when someone disrupted that, he took it personally. So when we ask who Peyton Manning hates, the answer is complicated. He does not hate people. He hates imperfection. He hates losing. He hates feeling out of control. Brady represented everything Manning wanted to be, but was not. Belichick represented the one puzzle Manning could not solve. Bad quarterbacks represent a waste of talent and opportunity. And those defensive players, they represented chaos in a game Manning desperately wanted to control. He makes me sick. That line from the beginning, it captures Manning perfectly, because that is how he feels watching bad football. That is how he felt losing to Brady year after year. That is how he felt getting confused by Belichick. That is how he felt when Ed Reed picked him off. Sick, frustrated, angry. But here is the thing, that anger made him great. That obsession made him a Hall of Famer. That perfectionism made him one of the best quarterbacks ever. You cannot have Peyton Manning the legend without Peyton Manning the demanding, frustrated, obsessive competitor. He makes me sick, but that is because he cares. That is because he is a perfectionist. That is because he is Peyton Manning, and we would not want him any other way.